Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. We've got a hot take today. We are a couple days late. We've had travel, we've had all sorts of things going on here at the Bitcoin Way, and but man, we've got an arrest of the founder of Telegram, and I've got Tony and Rick here to just briefly share our team's thoughts on what's going on. Wild times as the assault on free speech continues. So there have been 12 charges against Telegram CEO. I feel like I've heard his name. Is it Pavel or is it Pavel? I don't know. Durov. Including cryptology services aimed to ensure confidentiality without certified declaration. So 12 charges, gentlemen. Why don't you briefly give your thoughts? Tony, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, on the surface, this is absolutely disgusting and appalling that this actually happened in this day and age. I mean, there's no more humility, on the corruption. It's just flagrantly out there, and it seems to be becoming more and more brazen every week. This is a full-fledged attack on free speech. There's no doubt about it. There's no other way to no other conclusion to come to other than this is, it's deliberate. It was concocted by a group of people. It wasn't just the French. The French were probably just the paid prostitutes that executed the order, but I doubt they were the one who masterminded this whole thing. I suspect that the mastermind behind this had some affiliation with the U.S. government, because they're usually behind these types of stunts. But then again, this is on the surface what we're seeing now, on a flagrant attack on free speech that absolutely no one on earth should stand for, and should be doing everything they can to push back and make their voices heard, that this will not be accepted, and no one should be in a position to shut down the opinions of anyone, no matter what they think. On the other side, if you want to put on your tinfoil hat on, there have been some rumors circulating. I haven't verified any of them, but this is some of the news that I've heard, that maybe this was deliberate, that he knew he was going to get arrested, and he went to France on purpose, somehow to concoct some sort of deal, under the illusion that this is an attack on free speech. But either way, I mean, this completely destroys any credibility behind the Telegram platform, unfortunately. Not that it was the most secure end-to-end encrypted platform, because it wasn't. By default, there was zero encryption in any of the messages. But that's besides the point, So exactly what's going on, whether it's theory one or theory two, both of them are disgusting and appalling, that we have to, live in a world and watch this news on a regular basis. No one should be putting up with it at all.
Yeah, it's good marketing for some of these new and upcoming decentralized messaging apps that do offer more privacy and no ability to truly censor in any meaningful way. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a crazy story once again, right? It's every week like some big news events coming out, and I think what's important is to maybe look for like the common themes. So the case of Telegram's like really fascinating to me because if people look into Pavel's sort of backstory, they might know that he first started life when he was very young. He started a social media platform in Russia called VK, which was kind of like an alternative to Facebook, right? Now, what happened in that situation was the Russian government basically came over and like co-opted that platform away from him because he wouldn't cooperate with them in terms of trying to, coerce people and spy on people. So, right off the bat, that maybe gives you an inclination that this guy always did have the right sort of approach and values in terms of trying to protect his users. And it was VK getting sort of captured from him that I believe led him to then go and create Telegram and building it in such a way that would make it more difficult for authorities to sort of apply pressure to him, right? And I think later, there's been pictures of Pavel doing some pretty spicy stuff. Like there was a picture of him giving the finger to Putin once when the Russian authorities were asking for the encryption keys to Telegram because they wanted access to it. And Telegram's played like a really important role in loads of big events around the world. So, back in I think it was 2020 when there was those uprisings in Belarus against their sort of autocratic and corrupt leader Lukashenko. People were using Telegram to like organize protests and share information when they were cracking down and censoring people. I mean, so much so that if you Google it, it was actually called like the Telegram Revolution, right? So it shows you how important platforms where you can speak freely and share information freely is for people to have, some sort of agency to push back against, overbearing government control. Now, what's really fascinating is then, he managed to get like French citizenship. So he got a French passport like back in 2021, I believe. Now that's actually like quite incredibly difficult to do for a native Russian, right? And my feeling is back then, the Western authorities were quite friendly towards Pavel because, he had told the Russian government to go and swivel. And then his app had been instrumental in helping the uprisings in Belarus, which would have aligned with the Western democracy sort of principles and stuff. So they kind of welcomed him with open arms a bit. But what we see now in France really shows you that you can never trust any individual government, because as soon as they decide that Telegram is actually doing things that don't benefit them, right? So things like people in the UK use it to communicate, because as you know, like over here, we can get thrown in jail for sending a tweet that the government doesn't like. And what we're seeing all over the world is governments becoming like more and more authoritarian. So it's inevitable that they're going to start running into clashes with these kind of apps. And it's a trend that if you look at it sort of holistically, this trend is only going to continue. So they arrested the Samurai devs, right? Because private transactions, well, we can't have that. Now they're going after Pavel because, hey, private messaging, well, we can't have that unless we control it. So more and more as the money dies and they keep losing control of this narrative, more and more you're going to see them get more and more aggressive in attacking the people and the platforms that allow you these sort of freedoms. So I feel really sorry for the guy, right? And who knows how that story is going to end, but for the rest of us, I think it shows us that we need to stay on our toes, right? Like you mentioned, Michael, there's these new protocols like Noster now where, the social messaging elements are decentralized. Same with, technologies like Keat. And I think like we always just have to stay mindful that we should always be exploring new technologies and new ways to communicate, because this battle is gonna rage on for a long time. Like as all the conflicts increase, government propaganda increases, everyone's gonna want to control the narrative. So yeah, scary, scary times, really. It's hard to know what to say, but we just have to keep pursuing freedom as best we can.
Absolutely. Tony, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Rick in the sense that this could get worse as they get more desperate because they are failing in every possible way, whether it's with the money, whether it's with the narrative, with all of it. And all this is going to do is push the underworld to become even more aggressive in pumping out solutions to counteract all these attacks. And as history has shown, they win. The underground usually wins. They tried to stop back in the day, the file sharing of music and movies and all that stuff, and look how far they've gotten. They tried to ban alcohol back in the day. Look how well that played out. They tried to do all sorts of stupidities. Whenever you try to play God, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that are going to remind you that you are not God, and they're going to put you back in your place and completely destroy you. And I think this is what's going to start to happen again if this nonsense doesn't subside. And it should, because I mean, whoever's out there who has this delusion that they have the right to dictate how others live their life or what they should even say. I mean, these people are crazy. I mean, like mentally out there, out to lunch completely. And unfortunately, these things rarely end over a dinner conversation, right? I mean, it's going to take a certain point where you go past it and there's no going back. Boom. And that's where my concern lies, that this is going to turn extremely violent at some point because the people will see no other way to put an end to it. You tried talking, didn't work. You tried pushing back legally, it didn't work. You tried, all sorts of approaches, it didn't work. So what's left? Either we let you destroy us, or we're coming after you to take you out first. That's the mindset that's going to play out. So who knows what
Definitely.
happens? I think he'll be let go because there are the UAE government now is intervening, and even the Russian government is intervening to in this whole France thing. So I don't know how strong or how much authority and power France has to maintain this illegal arrest that they have over this guy. But time will tell.
Yeah, well said. Well, gentlemen, as always, thank you for your thoughts. To everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, whatever, wherever you listen. We really appreciate you being here, and we'll be back with more very soon. Cheers,
Thanks,
everyone.
Michael.
Thanks, Mike.